I think that there's already a vacuum of power going on in the Middle East. I think that there's already a vacuum of power going on in the Middle East currently. It's hard to say what sort of mistakes the U.S. is going to make, but from what I understand, the U.S. still does not have a clear goal of what they want to do in the Middle East. I mean, they play with this side and then they play with that side, and it's hard for them to have sort of a cohesive vision of what they're going to do. So thus it sort of throws the Middle East into chaos, and it has for the past 8 years, and hopefully that won't continue. I think that's a realistic possibility. I think it mainly hinges on when ISIS is terminated. If ISIS is terminated under the current president, I'm not sure that it'll last. It's hard to say where he stands on any of the issues, especially since he doesn't have a comprehensive view of what's going to happen himself. If Daesh is defeated after the next presidential election and after the next president is sworn in, then I think it's much more likely to bear fruit in the future, because it would give the new president sort of a great way to kick off their presidency, and it would be a great publicity sort of mechanism for the Kurds as well. Politics is always a game. It's hard to say who's winning at the moment. I mean, at least the one thing that everybody can agree on, Democrats, Republicans, Russians, Europeans, Americans, Israelis, they can all agree that the Kurds are great for the Middle East, and they're great for stability and peace in the Middle East, and we have a great future in the Middle East. We just have to capitalize on this and make sure Western powers know how important the Kurds are. We're 35 million people, and you know, we have a strong military, and we're the only people that are pro-Western, promoting American views. And I think everybody else realizes that we're the future. I don't know. I mean, the current U.S. president only has about 9 months left of his presidency before a new president is sworn in. Raqqa holds no real strategic importance. It's essentially been turned into a garbage dump by ISIS. It's been completely mismanaged, and the only way that they're sustaining themselves is through supply lines coming from Turkey, going down into Syria and then to Raqqa. What's more important for the Kurds than taking Raqqa is to close those supply lines and make sure ISIS is not getting supplies, weapons, fighters, money into Syria. Once we close that, I mean, Raqqa will essentially destroy itself, because they don't know how to manage, and the fighters will turn on themselves. So that's what we should be focusing on. I have no idea. I don't know that this president is even thinking about that. I think you have a lot of military strategists here in Washington that are sort of biting their nails and hoping that the next U.S. president has a cohesive plan by the time that they get into the office. And I think a large part of that plan for a lot of these military strategists includes supporting the Kurds.